This is a good video. I only watched like the first minute of it, but I thought it was a really poignant. Why am I saying why we're going to laugh? Like, this is going to make me mad too. A lot of shit makes me mad today. I woke up angry, lifted some weights angry, went to work angry, came home and started watching this shit angry. I am truly the angry ginger today. So anyways, this is a video. I know you guys know I'm not a huge fan of TYT, but I like some of the people around them. And also, we probably need to hate watch some TYT pretty soon. But you guys know I like some of the people around him. I don't know whose videos this is, but I like that it called this stuff out. So we're going to watch this one.
Government is doing right now as far as cutting out those jobs. A huge percentage of those people, and I know...
Here, let's turn on CC so you guys can see what he's saying here.
Government is doing right now as far as cutting out those jobs. A huge percentage of those people, and I know you care about the veterans. Are veterans.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that is a damn shame.
Yes. Yeah.
That is a damn.
Yeah. And this is what I'm saying. This gentleman probably isn't a Democrat. And you can see, look at the crowd. You can tell the people that are starting to wake the fuck up. And you can see the people that aren't. You can see the people, this gentleman in the back with the glasses on, glaring at him. This chick in the back with the glasses on. It's not about glasses, okay? Yeah, glaring at him. Like you can, the angry lady in the corner, glaring at him. Like you can tell the people that are going to be MAGA no matter what, right? Like, how dare you talk about my cult leader like that? He's perfect. He's got the most beautiful orange skin. It glows. Smells like flowers. Like, you can tell the people that are in the cult, but you can see a couple people. You're going to hear a dude in a second that, like, says, like, he's not a Democrat, and he's pissed off.
Are veterans.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that is a damn shame.
Yes. Yeah.
That is a damn
Cajun,
I'm not a Democrat, but I'm worried about the veterans, man.
You hear that? I'm not a Democrat, but I'm worried about the veterans.
Are veterans.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that is a damn shame.
Yes. Yeah.
That is a damn shame.
I'm not a Democrat, but I'm worried about the veterans, man.
Now listen to this guy's response.
I yielded to one of my elders, and I appreciate his comments. I think it's a great. I'm not gonna. We don't have time for everyone to stand up. I do got 2 more commitments today. Appreciate everybody making the drive out, and God bless America. Thank you.
Look at that. What a bitch move, dude. What a bitch move. That man just said, I know you care about the veterans. Like he gave him props, dude. That was the most softball way of bringing that shit up. And he straight up bitched out and walked off on that dude. This should, like, if you're a Trump supporter and you're like, it's just that the media lies about him. It's just, you know, like all that stuff. I'm just over him being called a Nazi. You know, I'm just like, look, not everybody that supports him is racist. You know, you say all these things, right? That right there shows you they don't care about you, dude. They only care about their position. That man could have stood up right there and just said the most innocuous shit ever. He could have said, hey, you know what, man? I do support the veterans. And you know what else? I do think that this administration and the way that they've gone through with a sledgehammer instead of a fine-tooth comb has been really bad. And I think that there are places within our government that have waste, that have corruption, that do need to be cut. But doing this to our veterans is wrong. That's all he had to say. Instead, he went straight up bitch and just walked out. A lady in a minute yells, you still got an hour left. I like that the CC thinks this is applause.
We're gonna take pictures with you, buddy, right?
We're gonna take pictures with you, buddy, right? Damn! That was cold. Oh, that dude was on point, bro. Oh, that was amazing. Oh, that was so on point.
We're gonna take pictures with you, buddy, right?
Senator Roger Marshall is a coward. He left his town hall early after getting too many,
Oh,
as
is
he
this
called
Coach
them,
D?
rude questions
No,
from
this is,
constituents like that man, who
Jay,
was concerned
right?
about veterans being
like
thrown
him.
out by Elon Musk. You know, the extreme disdain that this party has for this country is something that they no longer care about hiding.
Damn,
Republican
dude.
Senator Roger Marshall
Damn.
left his town hall at a county hospital in Kansas early. Colin McRoberts, who captured this moment, travelled about 5 hours with his mother to attend.
We had heard about the town hall on Reddit from someone who said they'd
So once again, when people ask me, is there hope, right? Is there hope? That's what I say. Like, there is hope. Like, people are upset. And you're going to find yourself having strange bedfellows nowadays, right? Somebody earlier, one of my employees that's LGBT, right? She was like, a couple times now, Mike Pence has said things, and it's so weird for me to, like, agree with him. She's like, I don't support him. I don't support the things that he does, but like, he's been telling the truth about Trump. It's crazy, and I agree with him. And I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, we're in this strange reality right now where, like, Laura Loomer will tweet about how Elon Musk is a techno-oligarch billionaire, and I'm like, oh, dude, I can't be agreeing with Laura Loomer right now. Where Steve Bannon is like, fuck Elon Musk, he's trying to destroy America, and I'm like, oh, God, I cannot be currently agreeing with Steve Bannon, am I? You know, Ron DeSantis is like, we don't want the Tates in Florida. And I'm like, oh my God, did I just agree with Mom DeSantis? And I was telling him, I was like, look, at the end of the day, we're cheering at the same time. But then if they're like, cool, I'm going to run for president, be like, no, we agree that this is bullshit. I don't support you. But there are about to be some strange bedfellows. And the one thing I will say to everybody, and you guys know I talk a lot of shit, so this might sound strange, but I'm also real, right? I want to tell you guys honestly. I've always said that there needs to be a path to redemption for people. And it's one thing to vote for Trump and say, well, I don't know, I wasn't educated to things, I wasn't paying attention. You know, I can forgive people that as long as they understand what they did wrong. There has to be a path to redemption for people. So what I would say to everybody out there is you do have to offer a path for people that did things that you disagree with. Now, like I said before, we ain't TYT. So we ain't gonna have a beer with racists and homophobes. We ain't gonna have a beer with people that are excusing our veterans getting fired from the government. We ain't gonna have a beer with people that think just random people being fired for no fucking reason at all, so that way we can have a little more money is okay. That's never gonna happen. But if you got somebody out there and they say, look, man, I messed up. I didn't want to vote for Kamala because she was a prosecutor. Like, she put people in jail for weed. We already debunked all that. But these people didn't. If it's a farmer and he's like, I'm going to lose my farm now, and I took a 17-question questionnaire, I don't know, it told me to vote for Trump. You can be angry at that. Your anger is righteous, right? Like, that's real. Like, you are right to be fucking angry at these people. But that doesn't mean that you can't offer them a hand up, right? Like, I used to say about Colin Kaepernick, I said the craziest thing about Colin Kaepernick was, here's a dude who is kneeling to say, like, like, there's people out there of color that are being harmed by police officers, and I don't stand for that, so I'm going to kneel. And it's like, as an American, what you could have done if you didn't like what he was doing was you could have offered him a hand up. You could have said, let me help you stand. But instead, they shit on him, right? So it's the same. It's like, sometimes you got to offer a hand. I'm not offering that hand to a racist, not offering that hand to a homophobe, and I'm not offering that hand to a cult member. But at the end of the day, when y'all get out and you wake up and you realize shit's fucked up and you were a part of the problem, I'll be there with you to give you a handshake and a hug. Like, come on back. Come back to fucking reality.
I'd called into his office and found out about it, but I could not find any information about it online. We kind of got the impression that the senator did not want people to come to the town hall, which made me think it might be a particularly interesting thing to go to.
McRoberts said when he arrived, they had to move to a larger space.
I would say there was room for maybe 30 people max. They had some folding chairs set out for about that many. And within...
People are speaking up. People are speaking up. Like I said.
I would say 20 minutes before the scheduled start time, it was overflowing. And one of Marshall's staffers came in and looked both surprised and I would say a little bit alarmed at the number of people and some of the signs that were critical of him. And they pretty quickly moved us to sort of an atrium space.
You know, this one of the rudest audiences I've ever had.
Wow. The out of touch. How out of touch these people are. Like how this is the rudest audience I've ever had. Why do you think they're rude? Do you think it's because you're allowing a fucking billionaire to just mass fire people that he has no idea what they do? You think it's because a dude gets up on stage with a chainsaw while people are literally losing their fucking jobs? Because he thinks it's funny? I am meme! Like, you think that's why people are pissed off? You think that's why they're being rude to you, dog? No shit.
So when you hear the details behind the disastrous town hall, about the fearful energy that came from Senator Marshall's handlers, just from the sight of a large number of people that he'd have to answer to, it can't be any clearer that the ivory towers have been built and the ruling class has no concern for American voters.
It was a surprise to everyone, I think, to the point that no one really knew what was happening until he was out of the room and somebody started to yell, why are you leaving? Where are you going? You've got 20 minutes left. And it was a very quick exit.
A spokesperson for Senator Marshall said, quote, Democrat operatives who couldn't place Oakley, Kansas on a map before today sabotaged a local...
Dude, that's what Bernie was just saying. They just create a completely different reality. Nothing is real, guys. That's McCarthyism, too. I don't need evidence. You know it's happening. That's all that Red Scare shit, dude. We make the reality we choose to. Rudy Giuliani, you have your facts and I have mine. They're alternative facts. Wow.
Town hall. Even
they found
still,
the people
Senator
for it.
Marshall
They found the right people for it, man.
Every question
the
that was
conspiracy
asked
people
for
on the left
45
and the
minutes.
right.
Stop and think about that bullshit excuse. So Republicans are repeating the lie that when they face angry constituents at these town halls, that they're simply paid Democrats.
Yeah.
First of all,
go ahead and go take a look at X. I know it's a cesspit, so be careful. Wash your hands. Wear a mask. All right, but go look at X. You can click on those people's profiles. You can go see all of the shit they've posted before on their wall. There are people on X right now that have posted pro-Trump shit, pro-Laura Loomer, all of these other people, right? And then you see on the top, the last tweet that they had was them saying, hold on, this isn't what I voted for. I didn't vote for veterans to be fucking fired. I didn't vote for my sister to lose her job who's been working at this job for 10 years. I didn't vote to have human traffickers brought back to Florida. I didn't vote for you to hide the Epstein files. Like, they're not just Democrats that are being paid to come and yell at you, bro. You guys, you overplayed your fucking hand. You're trying to burn down the country, and finally people are fucking waking up and being like, oh, you know what? I live in this country. Burning it down would affect me. Now, mind you, like I said, that's not the cult. The cult's going to just believe whatever they say. Those are just Democrats. They've been paid. Crisis actors. I have people that come in my store right now that say the bird flu isn't real. They say the bird flu isn't real. It's just a reason for people to make more money off of eggs. Now, they're pretty close. They're almost there because like all conspiracies, it has a bit of truth, right? People are making more money off of you. Corporations are price gouging the shit out of you right now on eggs. Where I work, we sell that shit almost for cost, right? Do you know how stupid it is to say to a person that is literally selling a product at a loss to you because we understand like what it's like to take care of our community. We understand that we have to have a symbiotic relationship with the people that support us. Do you know how stupid that is to then claim that there's a gigantic conspiracy that we're involved in, my little store is somehow involved in, to make money off of you because you don't believe that the bird flu is real? Like, that's the type of insanity that exists within the cult. And like I said, those other people that are like, well, what the fuck is going on? They might wake up. There might be a chance. But those people, the people that believe the shit that this guy's talking about, they're lost. And I don't even know how to answer that.
Why is it un-American to speak to your Democratic constituents if they have questions for you? It sounds like the Republican Party is openly stating that elected officials only work for people that are registered to the party, which should beg the question, why should people that have no interest in representing continue to pay their taxes then? They've literally gone full circle back to no taxation without representation. And secondly, there's zero proof behind the repeated and dismissive talking point that these town halls don't have angry Republicans attending and demanding answers for the way that they've been treated too. It's like the obvious scheme to simply repeat waste, fraud, and abuse over and over again, no matter how many times they refuse to present any actual evidence, is the way that they're going with this.
You say there won't be any cuts to entitlements, but on Friday, Elon Musk, who President Trump has, of course, put in charge of making cuts all across.
And Bernie pointed this out. They claim that there's all this fraud that's happening in there so that way they can cut Social Security, because a bunch of people that don't currently get Social Security are going to be like, no, dude, like no one's being affected. It's only the dead people that were receiving checks. That's what's happening. That's the lie they tell you. They set these Trump supporters up in a way where they tell them the lie before they get to the problem, right? So that way when they encounter the problem, they're prepped. They're ready to go. They already have their NPC response to what is happening. So their NPC response, when people start saying, I was on Social Security and my check got cut, and that's because they somehow claimed I was part of the fraud, but I'm like an old person that has worked my whole life. And people are going to go, it's just a Democrat that was paid to say that, bro. They're not real. Like, none of that happened. Like, they told us that, like, there's fraud, and that's why there's 150-year-olds getting the money. That's why they prep these people with lies. They get them worked up with fear, with anger, with hate, and then they encounter the problem, and then they double down on those lies. That's the plan. Bernie called that shit out.
The government called Social Security, quote, the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. Mr. Speaker, is that a sign that Social Security is Elon Musk's next target?
No, well, I've met with Elon about this multiple times. We meet late into the night in his office, and we've looked at that. What he's finding with his algorithms crawling through the data of Social Security system is enormous amounts of fraud, waste, and abuse.
With his algorithms, Elon Musk has zero expertise to decide what fraud looks like in a Social Security system. You know who does? Third parties that are not influenced by the current president that can come in and audit those systems. You know what those third parties have found in the Social Security? That is actually ran pretty fucking well, and there's some slight, what that dude called, Kim Block called crap data, where people are getting entered in the system and their birth dates are defaulting to this 1875 number. Now, that should be fixed. That should 100% be looked into, and it should be corrected. But you know what there isn't? There isn't a bunch of 150-year-olds just receiving checks, dude. Is there fraud? There's always fraud. Is there corruption? There's always corruption. Should it be handled? 100%. Should it be handled by Elon Musk? Fuck no.
So it's a target.
And we need
it is a target.
Late in the night.
People want us to. No, Kristen, don't put words in my mouth. What I am saying is we have a moral responsibility to ensure that those programs are conducted in a way that does not allow for this massive fraud and abuse. And that's what he is finding.
So it's the MAGA playbook. Ignore all facts and reality to simply restate waste, fraud, and abuse,
like Bernie said.
and ask anything about Elon Musk's illegal invasion of our federal government. He's the human shield who oddly uses his son in the same way to avoid accountability. He's supposed to be the untouchable genius whose abilities and findings are unmatched in comparison to anyone that easily disproves his claims. It's simple deification and propaganda, because this is their genius that's trying to convince anyone smarter than Joe Rogan why they have to raid Social Security after decades of claiming that they wouldn't.
Well, I mean, the government's one big permit scheme, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, you can tell me better than anybody.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Right, explain that.
Oh, so well, people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately. But the obligation for Social Security is your entire retirement career. So you're paying with you're paying.
Jesus,
like if you look at the future obligations of Social Security,
You want to know the saddest part about the fact that he can't explain this? Is that it's his argument. He's Mr. Birthrate. He's Mr. fucking, like, we need to have more kids, bro. Like, it's the liberals and the gay people not wanting to have children. I gotta have 14 now. Like, this is his argument, and he can't even explain it. Let me Elon explain what he wants to say. What he's trying to say is just like what's happening in Japan right now, is that when you have a older community that has worked their entire life and paid into the Social Security system, and then they retire, then we have low birth rates within our country, which we have a lower birth rate. It's not fucking terrible. It's not out of this world. It is something that could be a concern if you're worried about, having workers around to do shit for you. So the birth rate does not make up for the amount of people retiring. Therefore, our Social Security right now is top heavy because there's more people on Social Security than the current system can deal with. But what he doesn't want to talk about is that the answer, there is a solution to that problem. And that problem is to stop ultra wealthy people and corporations from working the system to not pay the taxes. It's something like after $174,000, you no longer have to pay the Social Security tax. If people like Elon Musk, people like Joe Rogan, people like Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos and Mark Andreessen and Donald Trump, pretty much name anybody that's currently affiliated with the government. If those people continue to pay into Social Security just like we do, every fucking dollar, just like we do, we wouldn't have a problem. Social Security would be funded until fucking eternity. If they paid their fair share into Social Security, there wouldn't be a problem with it being top heavy. And the reason he can't explain this right now is because anybody with 2 fucking brain cells can figure out the solution to it because it's sitting right in front of fucking Joe Rogan. It's all that money.
Far exceeds the tax revenue.
What's up, Jeremy?
Have you ever looked at the debt clock?
Yes.
Okay. There's our present day.
Venture said, Keith Olbermann says that Elon is the way he is because of a botched penile implant. Oh, God. Look. Okay, guys, look. I'm just going to say it. If the right can just go off on any conspiracy theory they want and just make it real, make that real. Okay, guys? Go with that. My theory, and I think that I can prove this theory, guys. My theory is that Elon Musk is genuinely Aspie. Okay? My son's Aspie. I think he's genuinely Aspie. And I think he got a hold of something that he shouldn't have gotten a hold of. And that was he smoked a bunch of weed with Joe Rogan. In that interview with Joe Rogan, he says, I don't smoke. I don't do any drugs. And then he smoked that weed with Joe Rogan, and it has been all downhill since then. He's doing ketamine and all this other shit now. I think he legit smoked himself mentally deficient. Yeah, I thought I was going to say it. I ain't getting canceled. Yeah, I am probably, but not right now, at least. That's my opinion. That's my conspiracy. Is I think he smoked his ass into the fucking dumb realm, and he has gone nothing but downhill since then. That's what I think.
But then there's a future.
That's
obligation.
A good call, though. Yeah, he's
so
in
when
the
you look at
K-hole.
the future obligations of Social Security.
Fan, you're probably right. I'm going with Fan.
The actual national debt is like double what people think it is because of the future obligations.
Yeah, why is that, billionaire boy?
So,
why is
basically,
that?
people are living way longer than expected. And there are fewer babies being born. So you have more people who are retired and that live for a long time and get retirement payments. So the future obligations. So however bad the financial situation.
He is so bad at explaining things. He is the worst communicator. Like, these people love fucking shitty communicators. Trump sucks at communicating. Elon Musk sucks at communicating.
Situation is right now for the federal government. It will be much worse.
Rogan laced that weed. That's a good call.
It's overwhelmingly obvious that this guy is one of the most unqualified and corrupt pieces of shit this country's ever seen. It's why when people like Moses Mike Johnson are confronted with facts that totally disprove their litany of lies, the response is simply, believe me and not your lying eyes.
It's worth noting the Social Security Administration's internal watchdog found that less than 1% of benefit payments were improper. I do want to get to my final question, though, which is about the shutdown.
Don't believe it. Hey, don't believe it.
All right.
Yeah.
It's amazing that don't believe it.
Just don't believe
considered
it.
A reputable
That's all you gotta do
answer
is
from
just
the
don't
Speaker of
believe
the
it.
House,
What's up, R.A.?
Who wants you to believe the guy that can't get a full sentence out about why he's doing what he's doing. You know, Trump tried to add some legitimacy to the nonsense by posting paid troublemakers are attending Republican town hall meetings. It's all part of the game.
Cult leader
for
said it.
Democrats.
That means
But
it must
just
be
like
true.
our big landslide election, it's not going to work out for them. The coward Roger Marshall, who considered a question about supporting United States veterans rude enough to walk out on, he tried to piggyback on Trump's post to get the heat off of his ass by simply stating, "can confirm." So what an extremely spineless excuse of a leader this guy
Marshall.
is. Because even though he ran away from questions about a guy that he blindly defends, what he refuses to confirm is that his oligarchs' claims of waste, fraud, and abuse includes contracts and programs that literally don't exist. While George W. Bush was president, the U.S. Coast Guard signed a contract to get administrative help from a company in Northern Virginia. It paid $144,000, and the contract was completed by June 30th, 2005. 20 years passed, presidents came and went. Last week, Elon Musk's restructuring team called DOGE said it had just canceled the long-dead Coast Guard contract, and in doing so saved U.S. taxpayers $53.7 million. And that wasn't the only time. Even after Musk's group deleted several large erroneous claims from its website last week, the New York Times found it had added new mistakes, claiming credit for canceling contracts that had actually ended under previous presidents. This is why Johnson's answer to facts is, don't believe it, just don't believe it. They won't tell you that they deleted their own announcements of several spending cuts that ended up being Musk simply creating these alternate realities for supporters to consume. The last of the original top 5 disappeared from the site in the early hours of Tuesday, even as the group claimed in its latest update that its savings to date had increased to $65 billion.
Now they're claiming
the website
they've done
offered no explanation for why it had removed some items or how it had arrived at the higher total. Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, sent a written statement that did not address the deletions, but provided a broader defense of the cost-cutting initiative, saying it has already identified...
Bro, Yahoo News fact-checked Doge. Okay, when Yahoo News is like, actually, we looked at their website and, like, the math don't math, like, that's insane, okay? No one's exactly going to Yahoo News like they're the fucking New York Times or the Washington Post, okay? The Yahoo News staff was like, Doge said they got rid of, I think it was $105 billion. When we added up all the receipts on their receipt wall, it didn't come to that. Then they came back and said, oh, well, that's because you only see 30% of everything we're doing. The rest you're not seeing or whatever. And they're like, okay, so 30% would be, and they're like, so you're going to see 35 billion, and or 13, or no, 50, the number he said, 65 billion. And they go, no, 30% of 105 billion is 31.5 billion. So even that's wrong. But even then, the receipts don't add up to 31.5 billion even. They only add up to like 16 billion. Like, dude, it's because you got a bunch of fucking 20-year-olds getting paid 6-figure salaries that are literally just like fucking beating off, playing Fortnite, and then just being like, oh shit, I gotta post that stuff on the website. Because they know the people that are viewing it, they know Trump supporters can't do math. Oh my
and find
God.
billions of dollars in savings. Yeah, they never address the issues that come with their dismissiveness towards this country. You know, because they don't feel a shred of responsibility for the citizens. All they want is your money and more control over how you live. You know, and now that some people have realized that the main symptom of Trump derangement syndrome is actually believing anything that he says, MAGA leadership only has a couple of few middle fingers to give him.
We've seen the blowback that some Republicans in your caucus that are getting when they go back home to their districts, worried about these cuts or worried about what DOGE is doing. Do you have concerns that that's anything that Democrats will be able to use to run against those Republicans?
No, because I don't. Because the videos you saw of the town halls were for paid protesters in many of those places. These are Democrats who went to the events.
Don't worry, guys. It's FBI, right? It was FBI. It was paid crisis actors. Like, dude, the song just goes on and on and on. The brainwashing is so strong. I don't know if you guys remember this, but Trump derangement syndrome was originally used to describe Trump supporters. Like, that's one of the funniest things is that, like, they say Trump derangement syndrome, but that was literally something that was used to describe Trump supporters from the fucking beginning. Was people said you have Trump derangement syndrome, which meant you can't see any of the flaws in Donald Trump. That's what it was for.
Early and filled up the seats. If the videos had panned,
you can't argue they were all paid protesters, though, Mr. Speaker.
Good call.
Many of them were.
A Republican acknowledged they were his constituents.
One Republican acknowledged they were his constituents.
Right there
That's
with
fantastic.
You.
Okay, but they had Democrats come and fill the seats early. All right, this is an old playbook that they pulled out and ran, and it made it look like that what is happening in Washington is unpopular.
Jesus Christ. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, and check out that video on the screen now.